Hi guys, and welcome back to another video on the NZ Day Trading 101 channel. I'm Shami, and today I'm just going to be talking about how I made $1,200 on my previous trade, which was in Skycity. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to take you through the charts and my setup and why I went into this trade, and how I got out of it, and also what would have happened if this trade didn't go the other way. So stay tuned. So in this video, I'm just going to show you how I profited off Skycity recently and the plan that I had around trading it. So first of all, what I did was I identified a stock that I wanted to trade. So I saw that Skycity recently had a material announcement out. So the material announcement was basically their earnings that they had recently. So when they had their earnings out on the 18th of February, what happened was there was basically a green candle. But we did see a slight sort of downtrend happen down here, but there's nothing sort of significant, because when a company releases their earnings announcement, this is quite a huge thing to the public. So the public can interpret an earnings announcement or any sort of announcement in any sort of way. And the best way to see if an announcement has been taken positively or negatively is simply by watching for the reaction that happened. So the reaction that happened in this case was, there wasn't much of a reaction anyway. After the earnings announcement, it just stayed in the same place, as you can see by this green candle over here. So what happened in the days following that? So basically we had 1 day pass, 2 days pass, 3 days pass, and all of a sudden on the fourth day, we just saw a sudden thrust upward in an upwards direction. And we just saw this long sort of green candle here. So my thought process around was this, that it's had a recent earnings announcement, and then what happens is that this can actually keep continuing higher. So for me, I'm always looking for continuation higher. I'm not really buying the dips. I know people like to buy the dips and all that, but I don't like to buy the dips because it can continue, dipping. It can continue going down. You want to be trading momentum. You want to be trading stuff that has likely continuation higher. So in this case, I saw this opportunity, and just using my own knowledge and my own sort of setups, I know that this can continue trending higher. So this is also a trade that I alerted in my chat as well on my paid course Discord. And I just want to show you that as well. So this was in my trade. So this was basically a trade that I put into my Discord chat, and basically anyone that has my course, they can see this, and they can, they can trade it as well, or they can just use it as an idea. But these ones have a high probability chance of working, but we need to make sure that the market conditions are favorable as well, because not all trades are going to work if the market condition is not favorable. We need buyers in the market. We need to have stocks that are trending higher. So in this case, as you see from this from the Discord here, I had like a Skycity recently had the earnings announcement, and on the third day we had a shift of momentum to the upside. So for me, this was a good trade. I also just my trade here as well, and I just kind of put in whatever my setup was, and I basically stuck to my setup and I executed it perfectly, where I profited like $1,200 off it. So now let's go back to the trade. Let's see how I managed to do it. So first off, I planned my trade. So on that sudden thrust here that we had on like the fourth day after earnings, we knew that it was going to probably continue higher. So what happened, I got into the trade at 297, and I also wanted to make sure that I had a good risk on it. I only risked 2.69%, so I'll just show you my trade as well. Yep. So let's just see a picture of my trade. So basically, I put in around about 19,900 into this trade. But I knew what my risk was, and that's what makes me like a very consistent trader in the markets, because I always know what my risk is going to be. I always know what my loss is going to be if the trade doesn't do what I want it to do. In this case here, my risk here was 2.69%. So on this trade, I could have lost. So 1989, 269. Cool. So I could have lost around about $535. If you add on fees and stuff, probably like another 7. So probably about $600 I was risking on this trade, around about like $550 to $600 I was risking on this trade. So I was accepting that basically I am willing to lose, I'm willing to risk $500 to $600 on this trade, and I accept that. If it does lose, it's okay. Like, I can handle my emotions. I know that that I stuck to my plan. I know that if I did lose and I did take a few more losses the same sort of way, I just know that I need to change my setup. And this is what all good traders do. They just need to know that, you know, they continue to trade using their setups, they continue to stick to their plan, cutting their losses quick, and this is what makes them successful. It's simply, the thing is, if a trader is not profitable or having lots of losses, it simply means that they need to change something in the trading plan. So in this case, so I risked $535 and I made $1,200. So I knew that I was risking around about $500 to $600 to make around about $1,200 profit, and that's exactly what happened. So in this case, it worked out for me. So I nearly got stopped out here. So that's another thing. Like when I trade in the crypto market, you know that it's so hard to like plan. You know, it's so hard to basically like make setups in the crypto market because it's so easy to get stopped out. Even in US, this will happen as well. Like the thing is about New Zealand is such a clean market. The charts are so clean that it usually just goes in one direction. And this is great because you don't want to be like in stocks and stuff or financial instruments, crypto or something where you're constantly getting stopped out and having to take losses all the time. So in this case, it was great. I nearly got stopped out here. So my stop loss was at about 289. So I made sure they had a pretty nice wide stop on it so that I don't get stopped out. So here I entered it. So basically I was nearly getting stopped out around about 292, but what happened was basically a trace back to 305. So there's still momentum going to the upside. So I was quite comfortable in the trade. And then I also put a nice long target on as well. So basically I made sure that, you know, my risk reward on the trade was at least 2. So I just put a random target. I was like, okay, I'll put around about, I put around about, what I sell at 16. Yeah, I put around about 316. So I knew 6% is all good. I always just use a little bit more than, you know, the risk reward of 2 because, you know, you're going to have fees and stuff like that. So it's quite important to make sure that you have a good reward compared to your risk. If the stock did continue to go higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and like that, for me, it's okay. Like, I don't care. I've taken my piece of the pie right here. I'm happy with my 6%. The people that are chasing these big ones, they're not going to get anywhere because what's going to happen is they're going to hold. Then it's going to go down and then they're going to continue to hold. They feel like, oh, it's going to continue going up. Then it's going to more down and then they're going to be in a position where they're just going to be basically just taking the same amount. They're just going to sell at the same place. What happens is your capital's been in that trade for a long time. So that's the idea of me is basically I just want to, you know, take positions. I just want to get into a position, profit from it, get back in cash. Get into a position, profit from it, get back into cash. Like that's just how like my strategy is how I kind of perform in the markets. And when a really good trade comes, like a really good, decent trade comes, and which I actually caught, as you guys saw in my previous video on PEB, Pacific Edge, you saw a video, whoops. Like this sort of, you know, these sort of trades come once in a while, and you saw that I made a bit of profit from here to here, something like that. I can't remember, but like I made like 20 grand around here. But this is simply because there was just so much momentum behind the stock. It was just, you know, continued to trend higher. Like, but the thing is, I could have executed better. And going forward, as I'm getting better as a trader, I'm knowing how to stay in the stock a lot longer, and also how to identify the right setup so that I can, you know, profit into the future. So going back to Skycity, another thing with this trade is that this trade, like the chances of this trade moving like 20, 30, 40% are very unlikely. And the reason for that is simply because of the market cap. So Skycity has a market cap of around, I think, $2.46 billion. So Skycity is quite a large company. So anything over like $1 billion is basically just considered a large cap stock. So with large cap stocks, they don't move as much. They still can move, like they can still move 6%, but they probably can't. It's very unlikely that they can move 20, 30, 40% in a short period of time. Another thing is like something like RAK. So this one is something I'm keeping my eye on for any really good setups. So RAK. So this one has a market cap of, let's see, much lower than Skycity. So this one has a market cap of 196 million. So that's okay for a stock that's at 80 cents because we know that because it has a lower market cap of 196 million, that it does have the potential to rip much higher. So we saw a move here. Saw a 40% move in a short period of time here. We saw a bit of a move up here, and these are potential opportunities that we could have taken as traders. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to take much advantage lately because I am quite busy in my own business and stuff. I own a cafe, but I am always looking at stocks, and I'm always communicating with on our paid Discord chat about potential trades. I just have a quick look. I'm like, all right, this is good to go and all that. But just trade ideas there's a lot of trades out there. There's going to be a lot of trades going forward, but right now the market conditions, as you can see, is still a bit, still in sort of a downtrend at the moment, so which isn't that great. But it doesn't mean you can still make money on it, because as you saw with Skycity, I was able to. All right. Let's also see if the trade went south. So basically, the earnings announcement, you guys already know that I don't really trade through earnings announcements, and the reason for that is there's such a material announcement, anything can happen. Let's look at A2, for example. A2 on their earnings announcement or the material announcement basically dropped 20%. So the people who are probably gambling on, they're like, oh, it's going to go higher. Boom, they're down 20% now, so which isn't great. I mean, they would have recovered half their position, because what happened here was they also had around about a big huge fall there, and then they recovered half its half its gap, and then continued to go lower. Here it's recovered half its gap as well. So this could signalize that maybe these huge sell-offs over here is a potential trading opportunity, because previously it's always recovered 50%. So here you'll probably recover 50% as well. Alright guys, so if you guys enjoyed my video today, make sure you hit that like button below, and also subscribe to the channel for updates. I really appreciate your guys' support, and I'm sure that New Zealand, as in the New Zealand stock market, there will continue to be a lot more trades going forward. This is just a start really. In recent years, and with Sharesies and all that kicking in, it's actually a really great market to trade. I've traded in crypto, I've traded in the US market, and they're quite saturated with traders. The thing is, New Zealand is a very clean market. There's not many people, there's no one shorting stocks, there's no algorithms in the market, and a lot of people in the NZ market are investors, so they buy to hold for the long term. And I know that a lot of new investors out there, or even a lot of new traders out there, is that when they get into a trade and it starts to go the other way on them, or they're just down, what they do is they just tend to hold for long term. So that's the thing about trading as well. You have to cut your losses quick, because you want to be using your capital to preserve it and use it for other trades. So again, this is why the NZ market is great to trade, and how I make money off it, because simply the characteristics of the market and the people that are in New Zealand and their investing sort of behavior. Because people invest, because let's say an announcement came out and everyone analyzed the results over a few days, and alright, we're going to buy this stock. So everyone buys that stock all at the same time, sending the price high around about 7-8%, and they're just going to hold for long term. But the people in the short term, we can actually take great advantage of that, because just in a few days we've already made 5-6%, or 8, 10, 20%, whatever. So again, if you enjoyed this video, continue to show support to the channel, and I also have an Instagram account if you want to look at some posts or some videos there as well. So until next time then, and I'll see you for the next video. Cheers.